Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Yellow Ranger. I wasn't going to review this, honestly, even though of course I'm going to buy the whole set of MMPR. This line has put me off so much by the lack of quality control and the lack of care in the later releases. Especially some of the key Rangers, they're just so poorly put together compared to some of the early things we saw like Goldar or Zed or even the Green Ranger or White Ranger, who was White Ranger. They did so well at the beginning, and then it's just totally tapered off. And I wasn't going to bother reviewing this, but you guys have asked for it, so I'm going to continue to review them as long as I buy them. I'm not going to buy any to review anymore. Only the ones that I'm going to keep for myself are going to be reviewed. So basically just the MMPR stuff. Anyway, surprisingly and happily, this Yellow Ranger does most things much better than most of the recent releases. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This figure stands just shy of 6 inches, which makes it pretty close to 15¼ centimeters, 15.25 centimeters. And before we even do the question of the day, I want to point out the way they molded this figure in this kind of weird pastel-y yellow, which is yellow. I mean, it's fine, but it was acting really weird with the lighting. So hopefully what I've done here has made it viewable for you guys, and it's not terrible. And if it's not great, I'll try to edit it in post, but I do apologize if it turns out funny. The plastic being completely flat, which they did a good job with. It's very pale, and it somehow is just absorbing, sucking up all the light. So it's very strange. Looks normal in real life. I don't know how it's going to show up on camera for you guys, so hopefully it looks fine. Okay, so question of the day. You guys can probably guess what this question is gonna be. Which Power Ranger is your favorite out of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Only the originals, guys. That's all I care about. And if you don't like the originals, then don't answer. No, that's fine. You can just answer when I ask about another show that I'm not going to ever ask about. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetics here. This figure, they nailed pretty much everything on all of it except for the shape of the helmet, which is still much better than most of the other helmets. It's still not quite right, and it looks a little bit weird, but it is definitely closer. But the body itself is so much better. All of the body parts are the same color. All of the yellow is consistent. It's very well done. The paints are clean across her chesticles. The diamonds on the arms and the boots, it's all fine. Nothing stands out to me as being a problem. It's fine. The only issue as far as the color goes on the helmet, the yellow does have a little bit of a, it's almost a transparent quality. Maybe just because it's such a light color that's the nature of it, because they didn't use any paint on the yellow, and I guess that's something you'd have to just live with. But it still definitely looks better than most of the other Rangers. The detail work is fine. It looks good. I mean, it's we've seen these body parts before, but overall it looks pretty good. I do want to point out one thing. Let's just zoom in right here. Those little lines on that hip, I can't tell if they're supposed to be there or not, because they are also back here on this hip. So I have the exact same hip piece on both sides. Doesn't look like it belongs there. That doesn't make any sense. But it also doesn't make any sense there. So if you have this figure, let me know if you have those hip lines on either hip. It doesn't look like they should be on either of them. So I couldn't tell you what is supposed to be the case. Let's go ahead and wrap up the aesthetics by mentioning the one accessory, which is the unhelmeted head. The paint definitely could be better, but other than the blushing that they put on the cheeks, it's not bad. And the sculpt underneath is really good. It's a great likeness, so that's a very nice addition to this figure. So aesthetically speaking, it's one of the better ones they've done. It's not perfect by any means, but it's not terrible and doesn't make me want to throw up when I look at it. So I'm going to give it an overall rating of 8 for this line. It's very clean. They did a mostly really good job. Now, as far as the accessories go, as I mentioned, we do have the alternate head. So we have the helmet and the unhelmeted head. We have the 2 gripping hands that come on in the package, one karate chop / martial arts hand, and then one other slightly gripping but mostly style pose hand, so that's fine. We do have the gun version of the Blade Blaster. No foldable or folded version to go in the holster. That's so irritating. They have the mold. It would cost them like 0.2 cents to give us the folded version and the gun version. It's so cheap and lazy and annoying that they aren't including that, and it's just not okay. Especially since this whole Power Rangers line is one giant blank check for them. Everything is reusing parts. I mean, not literally every part, but you know what I mean. Like every Ranger is the exact same thing as the previous one. they definitely have the budget to give us a freaking Blade Blaster that's folded up. We also get our little dagger thingies, and then we also get 2 blast effects that go on the dagger thingies, but they're actually from another accessory. They don't fit great, but they are included, so it's okay. I'm only going to give it a 7 out of 10 for accessories because there's no good excuse for that Blade Blaster not to be included. No excuse at all. Alright, on to the articulation. The head is on a hinge, which is questionable if there's enough neck there. It can't really look down too far. It can look up a little bit. You get your rotation, no problem, and a little bit of attitude. Shoulders are on a butterfly joint, which works fairly nicely. I'm okay with that. The hinge, with a little bit of effort, can go a little bit better than horizontal. I don't like it really when we have the giant lump right there in the armpit. I don't like that at all. They definitely need to adjust that. But they do that so you can bring the arm straight down, which I guess is okay. But more often than not, you're going to have the arm posed out rather than going straight down. So I would rather they adjust that a little bit because humans don't really have that. Anyway, we have the full rotation there. No bicep swivel, single jointed elbow. Just better than 90 degrees. That's where you get your swivel right there. And then the wrists have a swivel and a hinge. None of the hinges are in the right direction for her accessories. Diaphragm joint on this figure is straight up trash. It is not good at all. It's a single ball peg. Luckily they did it right in that it's connected up here and it pegs in down here so it can lean around. But this is just cut off flat. Hopefully you guys can see that. The lower part is cut off flat and there's still virtually no range. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. That is one of the worst diaphragm joints I've ever seen. Ab crunch is okay enough. It goes forward a little bit and it goes back just fine, but having the reverse ab crunch diaphragm joint combination, oh my goodness, I thought I was bleeding and that there was red on the figure. It's from her belt. Are you kidding me? Look, can you see that on my thumb? Is it focusing or not? I can't turn my thumb enough. Her belt is putting red paint on my hand and then it's going onto the figure. What the heck, Hasbro? What the heck, man? Now I have to try to clean off the figure because the red paint from the belt is just leaching off on everything. What a piece of garbage. Anyway, the reverse ab crunch and then the diaphragm joint combination, which is already not good at best, and sometimes it's actually bad. This is terrible because of the diaphragm joint being worthless. This figure is not going to pose for crap. The hips go better than 45 though, so that's nice. Going forward, not quite horizontal, but it's probably enough. They do go back just a little bit. You get your thigh swivel there. God, that's irritating. At least it's coming off mostly. And it's not going on to painted parts, luckily. Hopefully it didn't get on any of the painted parts. God, that's irritating. Why? I've never seen that. Look at that. Oh man, whatever. Anybody else have that happen? That's freaking weird. Double jointed knees. They're okay. This figure is very gummy, by the way. The plastic they're using is not great. We have a boot swivel. Ankles go really far back and yeah, far enough forward, and you get a decent ankle rocker. So articulation's technically okay other than the torso. Everything else is pretty much fine. So if it wasn't for that being terrible, I'd give it like an 8. With that, I'd give it only a 6. This is terrible. That whole articulation setup is not good. It's not even good when they do it properly on a Spider-Man figure. It's certainly not good when they do it poorly on this figure, so they need to stop that. But now it's time for the final verdict on this release. It's still an underwhelming release. This line started off so strong, and now it feels very, like, they just don't care anymore. They've got some people hooked, and that's all they need, I'm thinking, is how they're feeling. That's what it feels like to me, based on the products they're putting out. They just don't have any real care or soul or heart put into them. It's just like, churn them out, make it another color, give them a Skittle, put whatever details you have to, absolute minimum to make it count, and then that's that. Don't sculpt the helmets properly, don't worry about the articulation functioning, don't worry about the red belt putting red circles all over the user's fingers. It's just a very mediocre Hasbro type of figure. So it's disappointing because this line had so much potential and started out so nicely. And I don't blame the people that are actually making the figures. I blame the people who are in charge of these things. So it's just, I know it's disappointing for them as well. I mean, I would hope so. So it's just a kind of a bummer all the way around. But that's the way it goes. So final verdict is 6 out of 10. Nah, 7 out of 10. 7 seems fair enough. It could be so much better. It's still okay, but it could be so much better if they'd even just continued what they were doing when they started this line. So it's kind of a bummer. Let me know what you guys think about all that stuff, and let me know if you liked the video by giving it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, do it. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. They're all made for you. They help you spend your money wisely and enjoy your collection even more. So come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.